Today I want to reveal the truth, and at least it'll be my truth. The curse of Russian passport is real, but how, why, who's responsible, and how to lift it, that's what I want to talk about today. Howdy everyone, my name is Konstantin, welcome to Inside Russia. That's where usual Russia is explained by the unusual Russian. No propaganda, BS or lies here, only truth, common sense and logic. And I hope sound is on too. Is real. Some emotions too here, because I am a human being after all. Today's message the live stream will consist of 3 parts. First is the message about the curse of Russian passport. Then we discuss and share opinions, and then we end the live stream with a prayer. Being a refugee from your own country is not easy, you know. Here in Tashkent, we're lucky because we have created a support group. It's called Tashkent Breakfast Club. We meet every day. We discuss different things of our past, our plans for the future. We seek advice. We provide help to each other. We are trying to build the foundation for our future lives. You know, those are ones who have left Russia. One of the things that is discussed frequently at breakfasts and at meetings on weekends at Tashkent Breakfast Club is Russian passport. Passport is a hugely important thing. It's not just a piece of paper, it's your pass to the world. That's your representation. That's the treatment you receive from foreign governments. That's your freedom. Many of us complain about what Russian passport has become. It has indeed become very difficult to live outside Russia and move around the world to travel freely with Russian passport. Very difficult. You know, it's been made for us as Russian citizens very difficult to travel. We've been limited in our rights, and that's a fact. What is happening today started reminding me early 90s. The USSR fell apart and we were finally free, and one of the biggest and most desired freedoms was to travel outside the country, to go anywhere we wanted to. But hey, not so fast, because it turned out that it wasn't just us desiring to go places, it's those places allowing us to go there. It turned out that it became very difficult for Russians to get visas. And we needed visas literally to every single country. Well, except for very few countries back then. I experienced receiving visa first-hand experience. Back in 1997, 96, 97, and 98, I received American student visa, you know, a visa to travel to the USA and study at a university. In 96, I was given 1-year visa, same 97, and in 98, I was given a long-term visa. Well, I remember that experience quite well. Going to the embassy on Smolensky Prospect, in the middle of, right in the center of Moscow. The embassy is still at the same address. It's waking up, getting there, getting a spot in line, waiting for an hour or so until your turn to go to the embassy and speak to a consular. And all that time, you wait and you're just freaking out. You have this incredible plans for your life, for the future, and you stand there in line and there's just one tiny little move of American consular can sideline you, for the entire life. So you actually start worrying days before you go to the embassy to apply for visa. And it's a nerve-wracking process. And when you stand in line, it's a culmination of your fears and worries and stress. And especially you see people get denied that exit from the embassy with their noses down and some crying. I actually saw a few people getting out of the embassy and crying. They were denied visas and they couldn't go and see their families. That's personal tragedy. And that doesn't give you more confidence, when you stand in that line. And back then, getting approved for American or German or French or any other country, a developed country visa was like winning a lottery. Most Russians were denied because Russia was, very poor, and Russians were poor. Country's economy was in turmoil, and most people were trying to leave Russia permanently or to leave Russia and stay somewhere for some period of time and work to make living, send money to Russia, or save and bring back to Russia. So that was the main purpose. And everyone knew that. And they were trying to keep Russians away for that reason. Back in early 90s, it felt as if our passport was cursed. It truly was a burden. It was shameful to have Russian passport. But then things changed. Russia successfully got over the economic transition period and entered the period of prosperity. The best time, absolutely richest time regular people, regular Russians had in the history of the entire Russia. The richest time. It lasted from 2000 to 2011. The reason for that is that the global oil and natural gas prices skyrocketed and their exports showered Russia with gold and money. I call them the golden years. And then it appeared that the curse of Russian passport was lifted. It disappeared. It became easy to get visa to travel anywhere for Russians. I personally had a valid long-term Schengen visa allowing me to travel throughout Europe. I didn't even go to embassies personally to get the visas. They were visa help companies that did everything for you. You just have to pay them like $100. That come pick up your passport with your pictures from your personal, that's how my process looked. They would come and my secretary, my personal assistant handled everything. Okay, I would hand her passport pictures, and then a week later she'd bring me passport with visa. Usually it was 1 year multiple visa to France or Czech Republic. And the last time I applied was in 2017. I got a French visa, 5-year multiple entry visa. It's great. And the list of visa-free travel countries, list of visa-free countries to travel to was growing as well. There are almost 100 countries that Russians, we could go visa-free. Things were getting better, okay, and then they were fine. And visa became not an issue, and Russian passport actually became strong, and we weren't ashamed of having it anymore. But everything changed when Russia invaded Ukraine. About 2.5 years ago, Russian rockets started flying to Ukraine and hitting, bombing Ukrainian targets, killing Ukrainian people. And the sanctions followed, and the international community started hitting Russians and Russia with all kinds of limitations. Currently, Russia is the most sanctioned country in the history of the humankind. There are, I've heard the latest number, 16,000 sanctions. And travel limitations were among those sanctions. Russians, so used to worry-free travel, started learning that it was becoming more difficult to travel to other countries. It took the Europeans and others quite some time to impose serious limitations. But now it's the middle of 2024, and it seems like Russian passport is cursed again. It is again difficult to receive permission to international travel. It is again nerve-wracking process to apply. Some countries, such as Norway, they have forbade Russians to visit altogether. They just don't want our kind. And for the breakfasts, when we get for breakfasts together, we discuss the news, and the news are not good. Every single day, the news come out that makes us shiver. And people complain, whine even sometimes. Oh, how difficult it's become. It used to be so easy. We used to drive from St. Petersburg to Finland, for example, to get food shopping done on weekends and then drive back home. Oh, it was so easy, it was so pleasant, and now it's so difficult. And it is difficult. It is very limited travel, okay? Note that it's mostly us, people who have fled Russia, who stand tall against the war, who make ourselves heard, who disagree, who want to find home someplace else outside Russia. It's us. We feel the pain of the Russian passport curse. Those Russians who are inside Russia, who are silently or vocally supporting Putin and the war, who want to nuke Ukraine, 1/3, by the way, wants to nuke Ukraine. Watch my last weekly news update. I call Friday Crazy News Update. I tell in my last update, I'm going to put a link right here. I gave the data that 1/3 of Russians want to nuke Ukraine. So they don't care. And the Russian passport curse doesn't exist for them because they don't travel outside Russia. They could care less. They think they're surrounded by the enemies, and they either don't want to or they simply have no financial means to travel. Only every fifth Russian has a foreign travel passport, okay? It means that 80% of Russians cannot travel physically. So they, inside Russia, they don't care. They don't feel the heat. They don't feel the pain. It's us. I've been thinking for about 2 years now about this thing, and I realized that back in the 90s, it was absolutely different. Back there was no curse. No Russian passport curse. It was a normal, common sense situation. And Russians getting so few visas and it was so difficult for us to travel, it was justified. It was justified economically not to grant many visas to Russians because, those countries who were denying, they didn't want many Russians go and explode labor market. Okay, that would not be good. That's very common sense decision. Okay, I have no problem with that. But as soon as we fixed the economy, and it took us 10 years, things changed. As soon as we proved that we didn't abuse visa rules and regulations, everyone started welcoming us. It wasn't us, the Russians, getting turned down, okay? It was just the fear of those who were turning us down, so they would come and would be willing to stay and work illegally because it was so bad in Russia. But they had nothing against us because we were Russian. Again, that was back in the 90s. And now things are very different. The real curse exists. And we are the ones who created that curse. And I clearly remember the moment when that curse was placed upon Russia and the Russian passport curse was born. I woke up on February 24th, 2022, and Natasha was standing there glued to telephone and TV. And all of a sudden, someone sent me a video, and there was a girl from Ukraine in awe, and she was filming. She said, "Look, we're having rockets flying above us." And there was a rocket just flew by. And that's when the curse was born. We attacked Ukraine. We became mad dogs. Vladimir Putin came out and said, "Oh, this is my decision. I decided to start the special military operation." That's how they call the war in Russia, but that is something that he did. Okay, but it wasn't just his fault. It was not his responsibility, not sole his responsibility. It is his fault, of course, but not sole fault. We approved. We had paid taxes. We had allowed for the vertical of power to be built. And I mean, every single one of us, 146 million Russians. The curse has been placed on ourselves, by our actions. How many people died in Ukraine, were killed in Ukraine? How many people died because of bombings and perhaps of lack of medicines, utilities? I don't know. How many people died? How many thousands? How many hundreds of thousands? How many homes were destroyed? How many shopping malls were bombed? The curse of Russian passport becomes stronger with every bombing, with every attack, with every single missile flying to Ukraine and exploding. Who is responsible for it? Us. I am. You're looking at me right now. I did not make the decision, but you know what? I'm a taxpayer and I'm a voter, and I lived in Russia for a very long time. And right in front of my eyes, Russia was changing, and I was not active enough to stand up against the changes and change them. Therefore, it's my fault, partially at least. It's the fault of every single person who comes to the Breakfast Club in Tashkent, or, for that matter, everywhere in the world. Everyone who has fled Russia. It doesn't clear us. We're still responsible. We're still guilty. Of course, it's all those who are staying in Russia, supporting. That's clearly their fault and their responsibility. And every time I hear someone starts complaining about Russian passport, I trying to softly tell them to shut up. I explain that it's just they don't like us, the Russians. It's not they don't want to see us. It's us doing it to ourselves. The curse of Russian passport is the direct result of what Russia is doing to Ukraine and to the world, because, it's obviously that Russian government now has started to extend its reach to other countries. The first step is propaganda. The second step, I can't prove it really, but there are rumors that it directly interferes by interfering with different productions and so forth. We are paying the price. We did it to ourselves, like I've said many times. Russia, by invading Ukraine, shot itself in both feet, in both palms, and in the stomach. Okay, and now this is it. This is one of the prices that we're paying. It's become incredibly difficult for us to travel. But you know what? Again, I never complain, and I'm not complaining right now. I'm just trying to explain my truth, trying to tell you what I think about this situation. I tell those who complain not to do so. And I try to explain my point of view, how we did this to ourselves. I am a recipient of the Russian passport curse. I recently traveled to Ukraine. Not to Ukraine. I wish I could. I recently traveled to Israel, and I was treated quite roughly by a border patrol person, officer, and due to my passport, my Russian passport. And, when she learned that I left Russia a long time ago due to my political reasons and my activism, she warmed up and was a completely different person. She let me into Israel, said welcome, no checks required and things like that. So I experienced firsthand. My daughter was denied an American student visa F1 due to her having Russian passport. Well, the consular did not really say that, but he gave a message that pretty much that's that was the message inside the message. Okay, and you know what? I humbly accept all of that. No complaints here. I have been paying the price for quite some time, and I will be paying. And this is not just it. This is just one small part. Traveling with troubles, it's gonna get worse. Norway is a precedent. Other countries will follow. What the Russians are seeing right now is just the beginning. Okay. I think that Russian passport curse is here to stay. It's not really about the passport. It's about the people. It's about what's inside people. And this is where the curves. This is where the curse of the Russian passport lives, inside Russian people. It's easy to fix everything except for lives lost. It's very easy to fix economy, especially Russian economy. It's easy to fix Ukraine in terms of to rebuild the country. Okay, it's easy. Of course, we cannot return people. Everything else we can do. And in Russia, we could make it shine. It's up to us. But I really think that that virus that's been eating lots of Russians on the inside is not going away, at least in this generation. I think it's going to stay for a very, very long time. And my bet is for decades and perhaps even for 2 or 3 generations. And the longer the virus stays and the longer Russians behave the way they have been behaving, the more curses will be placed upon them. And Russian passport curse is the first one. It's not the biggest one and it's not the worst one. Other ones are to come and to stay. How long will it stay? Very, very long time. Thank you very much. It's been my message. I would like to invite everyone to carry on to a live stream chat. Share your opinions. Let me know what you think. Good to see you, everyone. Thank you for coming. If you're here for the first time, please know that the Inside Russia community has best moderation team in the world. Lorna, Mami K, Bob S, Dirk, Amir Fazat, and Harry Potnin. Great people and the best mods you can ever find. Good to see all the usual suspects. And let's talk today. I am ready to answer all your questions, no matter how hard they are. Yes, if you want me to notice your comment or question easier, please put it in all caps and put inside Russia after that sign. Kind of jumps. It gets highlighted in a large orange box and jumps into my eyesight. So, leitmotif, thank you for highlighting. Bob, Baker Stock, howdy. Everyone, Tom Charles, Terry, Paula W, Sam K, Aaronka, Frank from Texas, Santi Prieto, Roy Cousins, Pat Scully, The Underdog, Stephen Ho Ho, howdy friends, George Rames, Jack, Russia hit Children's Hospital today. They do not have any humanity left after all. Well, of course I heard of the news, and I've thought of it for a long time. My stream was based on these events. I think that I don't understand why. Jack, I wish I could tell you. Do they have any humanity left after at all? After things like today, I doubt it myself. What do they gain from striking Children's Hospital? What is there to gain? Are they targeting children? Children who have cancer? I don't know. Tracariano, good time. Good to see you. Long time no see. Have you ever thought about splitting with your family to reunite another country? Well, that's exactly what I did. I split with my family in Russia, and I reunited with my family in Uzbekistan. That's I did that quite some time ago. Terry, I hope you find the answer to this problem. How? This is a big problem, not just for me, but for everyone. It's not a problem, it's a punishment. It's a swift punishment. That's what it is. And I think every one of us has something to be punished for. So, I don't... Elsha, well, yes. And I say it again. Every time a crime happens, every time a missile hits, I don't know, a hospital, a house, or home, or whatever, the curse will get stronger and stronger. It gets stronger day by day. Palvia Flex. Open at the curse of the broken audio. I honestly don't know what happened. I fixed everything yesterday. I double checked, finished the stream, and it started working. Curse of a broken audio. Richard Burris, good to see you. Sponsor for a very long time. Palvia Flex. Thank you so much for giving sponsorship to 5 people, and same goes to Joe's Rames. Thank you, friend. I remind everyone that every day I post 9 news on things I find important about Russia. And sometimes on a day like this, it's more difficult for me and Oля to do that. Sometimes it's easier, but we do it anyway. So all sponsors and patrons of Inside Russia have access to 9 News Daily. Come and check it out. Milkshake or menu. I'll buy a milkshake. I like that. I don't need it, but Santi Prieto, thank you so much. I'll buy a milkshake. Tom, I heard that there have been blackouts in Rostov for 2 days. Is that true? My mom, she lives outside Rostov. She did not have any blackouts. No, I have not heard of it. I'll check it out. Perhaps Oля has. 161, that area. Perhaps some places. It's really hard for me to believe that the entire city of Rostov would be. Oh yes, yes, I'm looking at the Rostov local Telegram channel. Yes, that is true. And they just came up with official. Thank you so much for bringing it out, because there's a big problem in Rostov. Novocherkasskaya GRES, which I helped to build, one of the blocks, they have huge blocks. That's a huge coal-fired power plant. One of the blocks is out for some reason. I'm gonna find out why. And of course the government is lying. I don't believe a word of they're saying for the reason. So they have two emergencies. Something blew up Rostov and Volgodonsk. Interesting. And now, holy moly, the energy system has just lost 1 gigawatt. Whoa. That's a big deal. That's a very big deal. Thank you. This is very interesting news. Tom, what can I tell you? So much of capacity has been put out of production. So I don't know how to say it in English, right? 1 gigawatt is huge. Right now, Rostov is going through very heat wave, abnormal heat wave, and every time it happens, once in a while, increase of demand for electricity is recorded, and right now people are using obviously more AC units, and that's just the entire energy system of Rostov region is on the brink of disaster. Well, that's what you get for attacking Ukraine. Joe Dreams, thank you again. Thank you so much, friend. Lorraine Proznovsky, fantastic to see you, and thanks for the super chat. Thank you. Lorraine is one of the pillars of Inside Russia. She's been the sponsor for over 2 years, well over 2 years. Andrew from South Africa, Koshkin Dom, howdy. Alex Baker from the Netherlands, howdy. Jorgen, in Estonia we mainly stopped giving out visa and have closed the borders, sometimes due to the risk of too many refugees which we can't handle. Spies or green men disguising as refugees and other risks. And you know what, Jorgen, I humbly accept that. And I think you are acting with best intentions of what is good to your country. And trust me, that's very right decision. Gnostic. Well, I'm not crying. This is not my personal reign. I would be crying if I was crying for myself. Okay, I'm crying for my country, for my people, and I'm crying for Ukraine. Can't really call this crying. I pledged to give people everyone who watches me the truth when Russia started the war, and I feel like I felt before like Russia was misunderstood. That's why I started this channel. After the war, I feel like people are misinformed. And that's what I've been doing every single day. I'm trying to inform of things that happen in Russia. And I give facts, and my commentary is my analysis based on facts. I can't really call it crying. Sometimes I get too emotional. I had tears a couple times in a couple streams due to the, not about my life, but about Russia doing something to Ukraine. You know, tell me how I should be feeling when I'm watching, you know, I search for the news all the time and I find a video. And on that video, a Russian rocket flies and blows up, and it doesn't hit anything, okay? It just blows up somewhere in the field. But a piece of it flies and kills a child who is working with mom in a garden, in a village. In a freaking village, okay? And then the mom starts hollering like she's going crazy. And that hollering is still in my head. I still hear it. It was probably the most horrendous thing I've ever seen in my life. And I want to forget about it, but I can't. Keeps on coming back. And I'm even scared to start thinking, what if I was in her place? What am I supposed to do here? Gnostic, you let me know, okay? Should I just shut up and not do the live streams and not talk about it? I can't do that. Yeah, please let me know. And I'm really sorry that much of that stuff happened to Serbians during the 90s, but it doesn't make it right. Crusader Damien, good to see you, friend. Looks like the Russians are falling all over themselves, denying the strikes on the children's hospital in Kiev. Same as missiles in Poland. I don't know what to tell you. Says shame. They trying to make it like Ukrainians did it to themselves. Yeah. Leitmotif, is the Russian attack on Ukraine any different from the attacks in Chechnya? I'm not sure what you what you mean by that. There haven't been any attacks on Chechnya in 20 years. You know, it's completely different and completely different issue. It's a domestic conflict. And Ukraine is a sovereign state that Russia attacked. Completely different. George Ruberty, howdy friend. Can't you friends in Maine vouch for you? I love when I hear something like that. I absolutely love it. George. Okay. First of all, not just friends. I have 2 kids there. They're both over, one is over 21, one is over 18. They're born U.S. citizens. I have many friends. I personally know the senator, one of the senators in the state of Maine. And so that's just so you know. Okay, I met when he was the governor of Maine. I met him back in like 98 or something like that. He's a friend of my friends, let's put it this way, or at least was friend of my friends. I'm not sure about now. But I've heard so many times from Americans, literally thousands of times when I lived in the USA. Americans think that it's so easy to come to the USA legally. Oh, what's the big deal? Just have your friends vouch for you, or have your kids vouch, not vouch, like invite you, or oh, you get married. Well, that automatically grants you green card and citizenship. Oh, why don't you do this? And folks, you have no clue how difficult it is to get to the United States. It's nearly impossible. Okay? If you do it in a proper legal way, according to the rules, procedures, and regulations and laws, that is very, very difficult, and it takes a very long time, years. Now, if you want to lie and cheat your way in, that's much easier. But you know what? If you want to do it in the right way, then you're basically out of luck. No, my friends in Maine cannot vouch for me. It was that easy, I would be in Maine right now, okay? It is incredibly, incredibly complicated and difficult process for Russians and for others too. Jan, welcome to Inside Russia sponsorship. Thank you so much. You have access now to 9 daily news that I find important. Sam the Legend, howdy. How does one tell the difference from Mr. Peaceface and his behind? For T, you're a legend. Thank you, friend. Thank you. So again, Richard Burris, George Rames, thank you so much. Santi Prieto, Dirk, thank you, friend. Tail Gunner from Canada, thank you for what you're doing. You give good insight on how things work in Russia. Very hard to find authenticity in this space. Thank you for your support. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Much appreciated. Lorraine, thank you again. TJ, how could you have prevented the war? That's a question, again, I've been thinking for a very long time. Okay, Dirk, looks like we have Lorraine's birthday. Just give me a second here. Let me answer the question. How could I have prevented the war? Myself, personally, no. I couldn't have done that. If many of us Russians, you see, our problem is that we were in over our heads enjoying the riches that we started receiving for the first time in Russia. From 2000 to 2011, for 11 years, we were enjoying this fantastic period of where everyone all of a sudden became, well, I can't say rich, but many became rich, but people became well-to-do. We started making enough money, even doing manual labor work, okay, enough to afford us cars, travel to different countries, buy things, and we started loving it, all of us. We have a social contract, unwritten, unspoken social contract with the government. You keep that money coming, and we don't care what you do. We're not going to bother with you. And that's where the problem was. If we, Russians, took interest in what was going on, if we, when we saw that stepping stones were being applied to our country, when we would stand up and said, when it still was possible, we said, no, don't do that. Get the hell out of the office. If we voted for other people, that war wouldn't have happened. So that makes us partially responsible for it and partially guilty. I certainly do feel the guilt and the responsibility. So I could have prevented the war if I was not alone, but with millions of other Russians. I think it was possible. There's quite a few questions today. Dirk said that Lorraine has a birthday. Folks, I lost this. Please let me know. Is it Lorraine Prasnowski? President Reagan, you could live at the airport terminal like Tom Hanks. Thank you very much, friend. Yes, I could do that. Thank you. That would be great living. That's what I wanted to do all my life. Ted USA, thank you. Konstantin is in the business of feeding the Westerners' hunger for Russian misery with fake stories. Oh, that's a good one. The super chat seem to be slowing down. Thank you. It was a great comment. Well, first of all, thanks for the super chat. Seems like it comes from Australia. Ted, let me answer you that. Again, thank you for the super chat. There was a time when this channel was shut down in terms of monetization. I was demonetized. Well, somehow I kept on going live every single day and doing the super streams. That's how I call them, because they were not monetized. I did that for free, and I would do it again. Okay, so money is definitely important, and money is it's what keeps me spending all my time doing YouTube. Okay, but money is not the reason number one that I'm doing it. Again, it all comes down to responsibility. I spent quite some time in Ukraine. I have many friends still in Ukraine. I have friends here I made in Tashkent of Ukrainians. I feel incredible guilt of what my country is doing to Ukraine. This is a tragedy for Ukraine, and it's a tragedy for Russia. Okay, and that's why I keep on doing the live streams. Now, I'm feeding the Westerners' hunger for Russian misery with fake stories. Tell me one story that is fake. I dare you. I double dare you. Just give me one story that is fake. I think I was wrong a dozen times over this 2.5 years. I never was wrong on purpose. I made honest mistakes, and every time I came up and said, look, I was wrong about something, and I admitted that I was wrong. But didn't happen often. It doesn't happen often. Just a dozen of times in 2 years. So if you want to really support your words with something real, then give one story that is fake. I would love to see it, actually. And the super chats seem to be slowing down. They have slowed down, let's say, by 90%. Since the beginning of the war, I hardly get super chats these days compared to what it used to be. But again, friend, that's not about super chats. If it was, I would be slowing down my streams. So you gotta be, you saying that on purpose, or you gotta be absolutely insane. But I double dare you, just give me one story I did that is fake. Tracker Yano, thank you so much. When I asked that question about moving countries without family, I meant it once more to a Western country. Would you? As Latvian, it'll help with it all I have. I'd love to see you and your family free. Like and heart for that. Thank you, friend. Probably not. Probably not. You know what happened to me in 2023? I left Russia on a very short notice. Well, you know that. You watched the streams. 36 hours I had. And the hardest time was that, oh boy, I picked up my son, who was 5 at the time, from daycare, and I had to bring him to a place we called academy. The academy, it was, just general development of a child. And I filmed that a little bit. And I couldn't hold my tears when I was picking him up because I knew I was going to part him. And then when I was leaving him at the academy, Natasha would come in half an hour and pick him up. It was the hardest moment, one of the hardest moments in my life. And I left, and I didn't see, well, I saw them, but not frequently. I was living by myself for 11 months, and it was the worst time of my life. Worst out of the question, the worst time of my life. It taught me so much about what family, what part of in my life family plays, and I would do it again if I was placed in the same situation two years ago. But I don't want to do it for the Western countries. I don't want to part my family, and I don't want to move by myself without them and then waiting for them. We are out to find some way to move together. So thank you, friend. Thank you so much. Mosef Thagliwitz, thank you. I'm curious what was the mindset while everyone was voting for Putin in the beginning. How did people think he would make things better? Because he seemed very good in the beginning. I think he changed. First 4 years, he was actually not a bad president. His policies were good. The direction that he was taking the country was good. He wanted to become part of NATO. He was working with the international community. He was, much better than Yeltsin. Friends, please let me know. Like Lorraine's birthday, I can't find it. Where is it? Nigel Forshaw, very good question. I'll let me just Lorraine, thank you so much. So I can't find it, and someone please help me. I'm Mods, can you please tell me? Dirk, I know, but which Lorraine? I don't. Is this Lorraine Proznovsky? Okay, thank you so much. All right, friends, we have a tradition. It's a tough one today, but the tradition is that every time it's someone's birthday, I sing a birthday song, and I'm a horrible singer. I sing it anyway. So today is Lorraine Proznovsky birthday, and I would like to sing, but I want to warn everyone in advance, so I'm gonna sing. Please cover up your ears so they don't get broken. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Lorraine. Happy birthday to you. Look, I am so glad that you're part of Inside Russia. You've been for as long as I remember. Thank you. And fantastic to have you as a pillar of Inside Russia. I'm wishing you all the best. Many happy returns of this day, and I wish you to have many reasons to smile every day and be surrounded with people who you love very much and who love you. Thank you, Henrik. Henrik Jensen, thank you so much. There was a question about renewing Russian passports in Uzbekistan. Let me make a stream about that. That's very good topic, and it shows you how Russian government works, stepping stones, how it's making more difficult for us to live outside Russia. You still can renew, but not for long, and there are new laws and regulations and rights and powers that just granted consulates in embassies all over the world. And let me make a live stream. It's a very good topic. Thank you for suggesting. Lex, any news on the Moscow Mule? What a car! I know. I keep on bringing it in live streams because I simply love it. I admire this car. News? No. I think it got picked up by mainstream media everywhere so much that they didn't think they would achieve such huge result. Okay, so they hid information about Moscow Mule from everywhere. Now the only one you can find it is Rosbusiness Consulting. There's an article there. I still keep on checking it. But no news on. They were gonna say it's gonna be in production. It was done with designs in 2023, and production starts in 2024. So I'm waiting. Sue, thank you so much from New Zealand. Such a lot of heart. Thank you. I don't make things up. I don't. I just think a lot and I put my thoughts on paper. In this case, it's not scripted. If I talk something about something very complicated, such as economy, then I script. This live stream, I just highlighted. I put some bullets, and that's pretty much it. Walk faster. Thank you so much. Thank you. C. Collins, thank you so much for coming. Thanks for your super chat. I appreciate the window into Russia. You're clearly hurting over what you report. It would be, yes, I am. It would be silly to act out so much sadness to me. That shows I know you're real. If you noticed, I don't know if, well, must be lots of people who had divorced in their lives. If you went through a divorce, it's a process. It's a very emotional process, usually very negatively emotional process. And it does not last. It's not like if you put a diagram of how you feel, it's always up and down. It's never a flat line. It's what I call it a roller coaster. On one day you feel better, another day you wake up and you're hurting so much you can't even get out of bed. Okay, and then kind of the same thing has been happening with me. The longer you live after your divorce, the longer I divorced Russia in September of 2022, the longer I live outside Russia, the easier it becomes. But I'm far from over, okay? And on some days, like today, for example, I heard more. On some days, I heard less, okay? And that just, I think it shows. I'm not an actor. I'm just a regular person, and I don't act in front of camera. So thank you so much for your words. $10 is great. I need, I take every single super chat, every single amount, and I break it into two pots. I made a live stream long time ago, over a year ago, where I called it the manifesto. I keep one part for myself and I use another part to help others. And I help in different ways, okay? So money is important, but the words are much more important, because words that make me feel so much better and they're so much more powerful than money. So thank you so very much for both. We have Mac in the house from Switzerland. Howdy, friend. Have you been hacked by FSB in the last 2 days because your voice was missing in the streams? I know. Yesterday, there's an explanation. My mistake. We did filming outside of the studio in the morning, and I simply forgot to hook up one of the wires, cables. But today, it beats me. I don't know what happened. Was I hacked? I don't think they care about hacking me that much. If they want to get rid of me, there's a window right next door, or so I don't think I was hacked. But something odd happened because I checked everything worked fine. So I stopped the live stream. I immediately started the new one, and the new one, the voice was perfect. Shado, thank you so very much, friend. I appreciate. Thank you so much. No message, but this message is heard and much appreciated. Sue, thank you again. Captain Poofers, thank you. First time donator, long time listener. Thank you so much. I mean, money is great, but again, you listening all long time is just this is music for my heart. Thank you. I have a request. Can you say a prayer at that Ukraine hospital? You'd better believe. I'm gonna be yes, thank you, and I will be praying for them in any way. I was going to in any way. So thank you so much, and we should be wrapping up soon. Henrik, again, thank you so much from Denmark. Carson Larimore, what's your opinion of Chinese troops doing training exercises in Belarus? Is Mr. Potato Head conspiring in case of Russian decline? Sure is. He sure is doing something. He's sly. He's cunning. He's been in power since mid-90s. Carlson, trust me, this guy he knows his stuff. He knows how to navigate through big powers, and he knows how to hang on to his power. He's been dancing with the Chinese since 2016, perhaps even earlier, taking money from them, technologies, and I think that if worst comes to worst for him, he'll just sell out to the Chinese. Mark Douglas, thank you so much. I'm praying for all Breakfast Club Russians. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. We still have over 1,000 people here. Quite a few have moved on. We still keep in touch with most people. We have a special place where we virtually meet. Some are in Montenegro, in Serbia, in South Korea, Bali, Sri Lanka. I think someone went to Australia, one or two people, but it's really hard to get to Australia. Australia doesn't like Russians. Doesn't take Russians, and doesn't fancy Russian citizens trying to go to Australia. I know two families who left for Argentina a long time ago. They like it in Argentina, by the way. think someone moved to Mexico, but that's I. Anyway, a lot of us are still here in Tashkent. Many moved on, and sadly, about I'd say 15% moved back to Russia. Not because they support the war, because they couldn't make it. They couldn't make it outside Russia. They still have families there, fathers missing their children, wives, sick parents, that type of thing. Couldn't find jobs. So some people did move back. Mark, thank you so much for praying for us. Jan, again, thank you for becoming a part of Inside Russia community. MPHS season. MPH season. Thank you so much. Welcome to Inside Russia. Amy Sanders, buy some bread to share. Thank you. I usually buy drinks, coffees, tea, but I will consider buying bread. I was in Israel 3 weeks ago, some time ago, not too long ago. And we had a meetup in Tel Aviv with people of who watch Inside Russia. And then we had a fantastic crew. 10 people showed up, and it was very touching because they came all the way from Haifa, which is a couple hours from Tel Aviv, and from the south, where Gaza Strip is, also quite a trip. And this is fantastic group of people. And they started giving me money, like putting money on the table. I said, folks, I didn't come here for money. I came here to meet you. And they said, you know what? That's not for you. That's from Israel to the Breakfast Club. Feed everyone there. I said, okay, that I can do. So last Saturday, I bought everyone food and drinks, and I spent all that money, chipped in a little bit of my money. Yeah, that was great. It was great. I made a video about that. I don't know how to release it to Inside Russia sponsors or patrons or for everyone. So, but I will take that $10, Amy, and I will share bread with others. Thank you. KG1, good to see you. How do Russians react to today's events? Do they see any of the outside world news? No, they don't. They most of them they don't. Most of them they don't even know. They don't want to watch the news. They have created informational bubbles around them. Because if they watch the news, it's too hard. Russian people, a lot of them are, normal people, human beings. They have emotions. They have empathy, or they had empathy, I don't know. But if you tell them that children suffer, it probably will make a lot of Russians cry, okay? If you show them the faces of children and so forth. And they know that if they start looking at this news, they're going to be hurting, as I am hurting now. And they don't want to do that. The difference between me and them is that they've covered themselves, or they've isolated themselves from the news, from the real world, and they live in their own world. And I'm doing absolutely different thing. I'm out there trying to suck in as many news as everything, emotions as possible. So I know what really is going on, because this is what I'm trying to pass on to you. And when you look at these things, it hurts. It hurts so much, and then they prefer not to know about that. Kind of the same thing as one of the pictures in a textbook in Soviet Union I saw in a history textbook we were studying World War II. When one of the German towns was, they called it liberated, but in reality the Russian troops or American troops, I don't remember, someone came in and they found so many dead bodies in concentration camp in that local town. But the Germans who lived in that town, they didn't even know what was going on in the concentration camp. So soldiers took the residents of that town forcefully and brought them and showed them. And many Germans felt remorse. Many Germans were crying. And they didn't know what was going on right next door to them, okay? And I think that kind of the same situation is happening in Russia. They don't realize the magnitude of catastrophe that is happening to both Ukraine and Russia, okay? And by the way, did that guy come back with the what kind of fake stories that I'm giving people? Yeah, I would love to take a look at the fake stories. Gaby White, thank you so much. We believe our countries are blameless, then we grow up and find out that they're not. When the USA invaded Iraq, our government lied about weapons of mass destruction after 9/11. As an American, I was ashamed. Putin has been lying for 20 plus years to Russians. Gaby, well, you're spot on, and I tell you what, there was an interesting situation. One of the people inside Russia left comments saying Constantine is paid by the US government and he's spreading Western information and he's been bought out by the US government, okay? In reality, I don't like the US government. I think what you said is absolutely right. And I remember I lived in the USA when 9/11 happened. And I remember how Colin Powell was lying about weapons of mass destruction. It was obvious to me. And I was telling everyone, hey, he's lying. What weapons of mass destruction? What nuclear missiles in Iraq? In Iraq, are you crazy? But everyone was shaking at me. Oh, you're not American. You don't know, you know. And it was... It is shameful, you know, what they did with Iraq for, you know, weapons of mass destruction. Totally made up that story, okay? And the U.S. government is far from perfect. It did lots of bad things, and you're absolutely right. So I am not... I'm not... idolizing it, you know. I mean, it's done lots of good things, but it's not the government. The government does the bad things. People do the good things, okay? I like American people a lot. I think they're absolutely great. But the government, it's got its own sins. Let's put it this way, okay? Gabriela, thank you so much. Can you move to Mexico? You will be near your kids. I'm following you a long time ago. I watch you all the time. I miss for some reason. I watch them later. I'm Mexican living in Arizona. Gabriela, thank you so much. Moving to Mexico, we thought about it. Let's put it this way. It's one of the like plan C type of thing, not even plan B. But definitely was on our thought. It's becoming more difficult for us to go to Mexico because we can't get there. The Mexicans have sent message to many countries, and the destination number one to fly to Mexico was Istanbul, Turkey. And now if you're Russian, you come to Istanbul, you have tickets to Mexico, they don't let you on the plane. That's courtesy of Mexican government. They said we don't need Russians because they're gonna, you know, go to the border, the U.S. border, and try to sneak in illegally. Okay, and then they're gonna be deported. They're gonna be brought back to Mexico, and it's gonna be trouble, and it's not good for Mexico. So probably there is still a way to get to Mexico, but it's becoming very, very difficult for us. And honestly, it's not a destination where I see myself living, spending the rest of my life, you know. It's different language, different culture. I like Mexico. I like Mexican food. I like people. I've met many Mexicans, fantastic people, but it's not my culture, if you know what I mean. Pinda, as a child from a Nagasaki survivor, I cannot understand people wishing nuclear weapons on other people. I makes two of us, Pinda. I don't know what to tell you. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard. 1/3 of Russians. Now, I'm gonna give you a little, whatchamacallit, little follow up on that story, and that's gonna be my last question because it's already, we're running out of time. Um, uh, I know a person, there's a person at the Breakfast Club who does polling in Russia, independent polling, if such thing still exists. Well, she claims that it exists. And I reached out and I asked her about this Levada Center polling research. And she looked at it and she said, yes, that's true. I believe that. So she confirmed it. And she said, but you see, they were not asked whether they want a nuclear war. They were asked if they were okay with Russian government bombing Ukraine with nuclear missiles to finish the conflict. So they don't believe that there would be feedback. They don't believe that. They believe that Russia can end this war by simply nuking Ukraine, and it's even worse to me because how many millions of people will be evaporated? How many millions of people will be killed? And they're okay with that? I don't know what to tell you. Last call for time is up. Okay, so I'm seeing friends. I got carried away. Thank you, Mixtash. Thank you so much, and thank you, Point of Guinness. Thank you, friends. All right, I would like to finish this live stream. Not the easiest one for me. Nothing for you too. I would like to invite everyone to pray along with me. If you're a believer, non-believer, doesn't really matter to me. It's the same thing. If you don't want to call it a prayer, call it sending good wishes, good vibes, good energy to people, to universe. In my heart, it's the same thing. So let's do that. Dear Lord Jesus Christ, thank you so much for giving us this day. Thank you for giving us these lives. Thank you for putting food on our tables and giving roofs over our heads. Thank you for surrounding us with people who love us and who we love. Please give us wisdom to keep our children, the skies above our children's heads, safe and peaceful and missile free. Please give us wisdom to raise our children so when they grow up, they will change this world for a better place. We'll make it safer, more loving, and better overall. I am praying for our children when they grow up to make a better job living that we have done. For now, please keep our children safe and healthy because they're our world and our life. Dear Lord, please help everyone to stop the bloodshed in Ukraine. The country has seen so much tragedy and the people have gone through so much tragedy and horrors. Please reach out and touch the hearts and souls of those who are responsible and capable to make the decision to stop the bloodshed. Reach out and fill their hearts with love and remind them that they're still human beings, so they make the decision to stop. Please help every single person in Ukraine who has been affected by this terrible tragedy. Send angels to watch over and bring safety. Please help everyone, answer their prayers, and make their wishes come true. Dear Lord, please help my country, Russia, by assembling the army of the strongest angels with sharpest swords led by Saint Michael, and sending it down to earth to get rid of the demons that have hijacked my country, who we know by their names and by their faces. Make Russia peaceful, loving, and respecting again. Dear Lord, please send your angels to Ukraine to help every single person who has been affected or hurt in this terrible attacks. Please send angels so they will watch over every child in the hospital that was bombed. Help every parent, every family. Please send everyone recovery. Dear Lord, please send your angels so they keep on protecting people. They will protect from now on and will keep everyone safe. Please do something that these things don't happen again. The children's hospitals and homes do not get bombed. Help everyone who has been affected. Bring peace. Bring recovery. And bring strength. Dear Lord, please help everyone who is in need of your help, who is hungry, addicted, sick, homeless, jobless, depressed, betrayed, not feeling well, in danger of in high waters, not feeling well about their lives. Please help everyone in need. Thank you so very much for allowing us to come here and pray. Thank you for everyone who is praying along with me. Please answer everyone's prayer and make everyone's wish come true. Dear Lord, I would like to mention a few people who need your help. They are Ann Larson and her daughter Hannah, Jeffrey S. and members of his family, Alex from Albuquerque, Mark Rutten, Tom W., J.R. McKim, Frank in Texas, Gabing with Gary, Lisa Kumrian, Harry Potnan and his family, Terry Carter, John McLean, Linda Trombley, Paula W., Dennis, Jason Carney, Susie Mailer, Tim Mayers, Dory, Rhonda McGillis, John, Taylor, Wayne, Dave, Dawn, Darla, George Ruberty, Pamela J., Meta Spencer, David Porter, Leif, Randolph, Grace, Dean Spooner, Elena, Natasha, Michael, Jake, Oля, Dasha, Sky, Svetlana, Sergey, Liz, Ron Klotzer, Liz Dumbrell, and Koshkin Dom. Dear Lord, thank you so very much. Dear Jesus Christ, thank you. Amen. Friends, thank you for coming. Thanks for giving me a chance Thank you for hearing my message today. I wish I could give you more cheerful messages, but I have what I have. I would like to remind you that you're awesome, you rock, and before I sign off, I'd like to ask you to join with me and say out loud, Carthago delenda est.